Why don't songwriting tips work? Well, there's 3 false expectations that cause 5 different problems. Lucky for you, I've got 6 solutions that'll help you out. Hi, I'm Trevor Dimhoff, and I transform musicians into songwriters at epicsongwriting.com. The 2 most popular search terms for songwriting: number 1, how do I write a song? And number 2, songwriting tips. Now, with songwriting tips, and trust me, I love them, but I hate them. I've spent countless hours wasting time checking out one songwriting tip after another. But fundamentally, there's 3 main false expectations that cause songwriting tips to be less than useful. False expectation number 1, there's an instant solution. Guess what? There's not. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I'm only going to tell you the truth. You're not going to get a magical silver bullet. You're not going to get an instant solution. Songwriting false expectation number 2, that songwriting is supposed to be easy. It actually isn't. If it was really and truly easy, then everyone would be doing it. Songwriting is a long, complicated process, especially as you're trying to figure it out for yourself at the beginning of your songwriting journey. So don't expect you to sit down and magically generate songs out of thin air. They take work, they take some struggle, and sometimes it takes an awful lot of editing. False expectation number 3, there's something wrong with you. There isn't. It's your songwriting process, or lack thereof. So it's not that you've got a problem. It's something in your songwriting process isn't working for you. So these 3 false expectations, that there's an instant solution, that songwriting is actually easy, or supposed to be easy, and that there's something wrong with you. These cause 5 common problems. The first common problem is that songwriting tips are addictive. Have you noticed this? You watch a songwriting tip. Oh, that was awesome. I got a little adrenaline rush. I feel really good about myself. I know I'm going to be a better songwriter. I'm going to watch one more. That leads to problem number 2. Problem number 2 is you're wasting time. The way that you learn songwriting is by doing it. Now, you need knowledge, absolutely. But you need practice. You have to put that information and that knowledge to use. You have to build a songwriting process, and the best way to do it is to do it. So instead of spending your songwriting time writing, you're wasting your songwriting time watching tips. Problem number 3, you don't have a process. Songwriting starts in an idea stage. You have an initial inspiration. Then you have to catch it and start doing something with it, manipulating it, building it into a song. Songwriting is not photography. You don't set the stage in your lighting and take a shot. Instead, you imagine it, you build it, you create shapes, you put texture and color in there. You have to build and paint it. So songwriting is not instant, and it's a process. You have to learn a process that works for you. Now, there's general considerations. You have to do certain things. You have to do lyrics. You have to create a melody. You have to write a chord progression. You need to build an arrangement. You need a solid song structure. But how you do that and the order that you do it in is personal. Everyone has a slightly different way to do it. I myself generally do it in that order with some minor variations, but I don't do it the same way every single time. My process is adaptable. You have to build your own. You need a process that works for you, that builds on your strengths and covers up your weaknesses or helps you build up your weaknesses. So the problem is you don't have a songwriting process yet. If you already have a solid songwriting process, then songwriting tips can help you tweak it. But if you don't have that yet, then you're just wasting your time. Go get some training. I've got some available. If you don't get it from me, that's fine. Learn it. So, the lack of a process. Problem number 4. Most songwriters write intuitively. They aren't fully conscious of how they make their decisions. A lot of it falls back on their musical instincts. Now, these instincts are built up by learning songs, learning how to perform songs, learning how to write songs comes out of that. Experimenting and improvising and building up a process over time. Now, their musical instincts are solid, but they can't always explain how they do it. And that's why so many songwriting tips are problem number 5. They don't really work. There's a teeny little bit or piece, but if you could already do it, you wouldn't need the songwriting tip. And if you get the songwriting tip, you probably can't do it just off of that tip. You need a bigger context, or you need more detail and description in that tip. So a lot of these tips sound brilliant. They sound great. They get you all excited, but when you sit down to actually use it, it doesn't really work. Now, lucky for you, I've got some solutions. So there are 3 false expectations: that there's an instant solution, that songwriting's supposed to be easy, and that there's something wrong with you. These cause 5 problems. They're addictive. Songwriting tips waste your songwriting time. They don't help you build a process because they're just bits and pieces. They are very intuitive and often don't give you a conscious control over your decisions. And finally, most of them don't work for all of these false expectations and other problems. Here are some solutions that will help you out. Number 1, learn a songwriting process. You can build it up through training, you can build it up through experimentation, but you have to do something about it. You can't just expect a song idea to magically transform into a song. There's a lot of work that's involved in this, and you have to experiment and improvise and build up a songwriting process that works for you. Number 2, do the work. That's how you get all of this. That's when you do your exploration and improvising. That's how you do this. So you have to set a schedule or build some time into your schedule. You have to make the time. If you say you don't have time to learn songwriting or to be a songwriter, you're not going to be a songwriter. You're just going to continue making excuses and continue watching songwriting tips and continue thinking it's just going to continue. So what you need to do is make the time. Don't give me the I don't have time excuse. Number 3, write who you are. If you're a developing songwriter, you're just getting started, your songs are going to sound like that. They're not going to be hit songs. You're not going to sound like a professional songwriter because you're not. Learn. So if you're an intermediate songwriter, you're probably going to sound like that because you've practiced more, because you've spent more time learning how to put all of these things together, how to take that idea and make solid, interesting rhymes and build descriptions and make a story and make a world that you're inviting your listener into. So write who you are. If you're still a developing songwriter, your songs are going to sound a little undeveloped. That's okay. The next song will be better. The song after that will be even better, as long as you keep doing the work and paying attention to how you build your songs. Number 4, get feedback. This is another way to help develop faster. Now, you need someone that will tell you the truth and will tell you stuff that is useful. That sounds great. Doesn't help me. Now, that verse, the image in the first line, I think you could tweak it. The rhyme scheme is the same as in the chorus. Maybe you should change that up. The rhyme words are not that exciting or interesting. They're too predictable. Those are all pieces of useful advice that will help me improve my song or improve my next song as I build my process. So you need feedback. You're too close to it. It's hard to judge your own work because you've spent all this time with it. Getting feedback is, someone else who's hearing it for the first or second time saying, you know what? You got to work on such and such. That will help you. So get feedback from people that you trust that can give you useful information. 5, co-write. Work with other people. Work with other writers. Songwriting doesn't have to be solitary. In fact, like all music, it sounds and is more interesting when you work with other people. The cooperation and collaboration will bring you up to the next level. Find somebody that's dependable, that will do what they say when they say, will actually do what they say they can do, and has complementary skills. So if you're solid on music but a weak lyric writer, find someone that's stronger with lyrics. If you're really good at coming up with chord progressions but you can't play them, maybe you need someone that's a better player than you. Find somebody that you can work with on a long-term basis or song by song. It's not someone that you're going to necessarily find right away. You have to experiment and, try it out. It's like dating. You're not going to find your perfect spouse on the first date. At least most people won't. Finally, solution number 6, click below. There's some more resources where I expand on the things that I talked about in this video, and I'll help you out any way that I can. So here are 3 false expectations: that there's an instant solution, that songwriting is supposed to be easy, and that there's a problem with you. These cause 5 problems in songwriting, with songwriting tips. They're addictive, they're a waste of your time, they don't teach you a process. Intuitive songwriters have difficulty articulating how they make decisions and giving you effective tips that are useful. And number 5, most of those tips aren't all that useful. Now, once again, the solutions. Learn a songwriting process. Make the time to write. Write who you are and accept that you are writing at your level right now, and those are the songs that you're going to create. Get feedback to make songs better. Find someone to work with, and click below. I'll help you out as well. I'm Trevor Dimoff, and that's why songwriting tips don't work. I teach musicians how to become songwriters at epicsongwriting.com. Click the link below and I'll help you out even further.